What's up, world? Welcome to Women in STEM Wednesday, episode 11. That's right, you heard it right, it's episode 11. And today we have two special guests, Sandra and Dani, which are both civil engineers. But before we get into introducing them, I first want to talk a little bit about our sponsors, which is Papaya Tutor, Lumis Automation, and STEMedia. For those who don't know about Papaya Tutor, they're a tutoring platform for any student that needs any help with their mechanics or thermodynamics classes. I do have a promo code that you can use. It's free 30, which you get free 30 minutes. And feel free to sign up and support the platform. But anyways, so I wanna get into just the topic of discussion, which is we're gonna be discussing a few things, mentorship, and just talk about some of the experiences that Dani and Vanessa had as women in STEM. And anyways, so let's see if we can bring them in here. All right. Before anybody gets, while we wait, I want to know where everybody's from. Let's hear it.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
Welcome to episode 11 of Women STEM Wednesday.
Yeah, it's exciting. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So, Vanessa, I know that, you're a civil engineer and you as well, Dani. I want to give you guys a chance to introduce yourself to everybody and just talk about, where you're from, what school you attended, some of the projects that you worked on, and what it's like to be a civil engineer, I guess, really briefly.
We're still waiting for Dani, right?
Yeah, that's not me. I don't know why you like.
Oh, wait a second.
That.
Oh, I accept.
Yeah, I don't think I'm supposed to be in that.
Well, hi.
Hi.
Yeah, you're supposed. We're waiting for Dani. I think I accepted you.
Yeah.
On accident. But you can actually, if you want to give, you get a chance to introduce yourself too. Like, do you want to say hello to everybody?
Sure.
It was so random.
Hey. Yeah, I was like, what? Yeah. Hey guys, I'm Alma. I'm actually still in school, but gonna be an engineer someday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Hopefully.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you for joining randomly here. I didn't see that it was
Yeah, I was like, what?
that it wasn't Dani.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
if you want to exit, you just click the little X.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got
Nice to meet you, though.
it. Thank you. Oh my God.
That's funny. Anyways, let's see if we can get Dani here. That was interesting. People are like laughing, like, "Hey,
hello."
Dani, I got the wrong person there."
That's okay. I mean, maybe she's gonna have some awesome questions in the chat, but I was just like, I requested to join. I don't know what's happened.
Yeah.
But she's
Anyways,
still
everybody,
so that's cool.
Everybody's asking like what's going on, right? And it's like I accidentally accepted somebody that wasn't gonna be a guest. So that just happened.
It happened.
Yeah, it does.
It wouldn't be a true live without something going awry.
I was like, oh, her name's Dani too.
Yeah, I was like, Dani looks so different. I was like, I was just talking to her. That's so funny. But yeah, I wanna give you guys a chance to introduce yourself, Vanessa and Dani. If you wanna start off, Vanessa.
Sure. Yeah, so thank you again. Like I was in the live, I think, last week, but if you didn't see that, my name is Vanessa. On Instagram, it's Vanessa. I am a transportation engineer, specifically under the civil branch in San Diego, California. The projects that I work on are roadway, railway, and bikeway projects. and I am involved in the American Society of Civil Engineers Younger Member Forum in my local area. And I just really enjoy, promoting engineering, not just through my organization, but also here on Instagram. So I just love being able to talk about it. So let's keep the conversation going. And Dani,
Nice.
I was able to meet her on Instagram as well through civil engineering.
What about you, Dani?
Yeah, well, first, I absolutely love the fact that we have this online community. But for those who don't know me, my name is Dani Schroeder, or Dani the Engineer on here. I am also a civil engineer by degree. Went to Drexel University for both my bachelor's and master's. And for the last 3 years, I've been working as a bridge engineer in Pennsylvania. And I'm involved with also American Society of Civil Engineers, or ASCE, and as well as Society of Women Engineers, SWE. And in my free time, I enjoy watching Philadelphia sports and long walks down the aisles of Target. Just normal things.
What sports? What's your favorite sport?
Probably the Eagles, so football.
Okay. That's
My
great. That's
favorite
great.
sport's volleyball,
Volleyball.
but I don't follow teams.
Yeah, I play soccer, football, real football. The one where you play with the foot.
Yep. I played soccer in high school, but it was too much running for me.
Yeah. I was doing cross country and track as well. Cross country, soccer, and track. I would run a lot.
Wow.
But yeah. Anyway, so we started doing this meme review recently. So we can't, we're in a meme page, so we gotta make sure we get the memes in. So I have some memes pulled up here that I'm gonna show with my camera, and then you ladies start telling me what you think about it and describe why it's funny.
Let's go.
Let me pull up the camera, okay?
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, Dani.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if Vanessa had to, but as a civil engineer, I still had to take thermodynamics. So this one hits home because I don't use thermodynamics whatsoever as a civil engineer, but I still had to take it as part of my undergraduate degree. But yeah, I remember steam tables. That's my extent of thermo. But I feel like Vanessa could talk about this too. But I definitely leaned into that curve when it comes to things like this. And I know in high school I was more of a straight A student, and then college not anymore because engineering is very difficult. So I'm pretty sure I've at least gotten a 45, if not lower, in college.
I didn't take thermo in my undergrad, but I can definitely agree with Dani. When it comes to the class average, that's what you aim for. Because it was definitely difficult when it came to engineering school. You actually had to study.
Yeah, I mean, you can relate in so many ways, right? It doesn't have to be thermo, it could be any other class and still have a similar face, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's
gotta ride the curve.
When you try AutoCAD or any design, right? What software design do you use actually for civil engineering?
I actually use AutoCAD every day. So this is definitely up my alley. And so if you don't really use AutoCAD and you don't know how to draft, it's probably gonna look like the it's called Cybertruck? Is that what they're calling it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Cybertruck from Tesla.
Very linear. But I use AutoCAD as a civil engineer. If not, MicroStation is another option.
That is exactly what I was going to say. For bridge projects and based on the clients that I have, usually MicroStation is used more than AutoCAD, but I do use both of them. The one thing that anyone on here that's familiar with CAD, I love the key shortcuts or keystrokes that you can do in AutoCAD. MicroStation doesn't have any of those. You have to find the buttons and click it. It's rough to try to switch between the two.
Oh,
I personally use SolidWorks.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, I use SolidWorks. I'm a mechanical engineer, so I do SolidWorks right now. All right, let's get to the next one.
Did you take drafting classes?
Yeah, I took SolidWorks. I think a full year of it.
Wow.
Okay.
All right, so here's the next one.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can start this one. One, I totally just need to acknowledge that WandaVision was amazing. I'm not gonna make any spoilers, but like this is fantastic. But this like really hits home thinking about college. Of I was up till like 3 or 4 in the morning in our CAD lab working on things because I knew if I went to bed or like if I went home and slept, I'm like I'm not waking up to get early for that. I needed to crush it and keep working. So lots of caffeine, lots of very late nights working in the CAD lab to get projects done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't stay as late because I really enjoy my sleep. Even when I was in school, I like could not function if I did not have my sleep. But WandaVision is great, so definitely go watch that.
Yeah, I definitely, for me, for my part, it was more about, I would always wake up early to be at the library at 7 in the morning all the way to like 10, just to make sure even if I had class at 12, I was still at the library like at 7 in the morning, trying to get this stuff done, but totally relatable. All right, let's go to the next one. Math skills versus story of life, stage of life.
So like I mentioned, I use AutoCAD every day, and a lot of the calcs that I use are just on Excel and spreadsheets. So I don't really use that much calculus or anything like that. Geometry, basic algebra, but for the most part, I don't have to use any of the things that I took in those classes. So if you can get through all those classes, and if you struggle in those classes, reach out to Papaya Tutor and get that tutoring session.
Yeah. What about you, Dani?
Yeah.
Did you take any hard classes? Any of these classes click with you here?
So many of the calculus ones, I don't see it on here, but also like linear algebra and differential equations, like I don't use those, but those classes rocked me. Like they were terrible for me to have. So I wish I had something like Papaya to actually have, like to actually get through those classes a lot nicer than it actually went. But yeah, same with Vanessa. Like for the most part, I use spreadsheets now. So like I know I have one specific coworker that he and I will talk about, like, did you find a new like Excel like command that you use, like VLOOKUP and then things like that like are basic ones, but like we'll find other things to like incorporate in that gets us excited about our spreadsheets. I love a good spreadsheet.
Calc 2 was the worst. I agree.
Yeah, I think Calc 2 too was pretty difficult for me. All right, I think that's it for the memes. I think I had a video here that I want to show. I guess I can't really show it yet. But anyways, let's get back to the discussion here. Thanks for the meme review, and thanks for the support and finding them funny, because I appreciate everybody that supports my page.
Very relatable. Especially when we were in school, like it just brings back memories.
Most of them good. Most.
Yeah, we were talking about difficult classes. I mean, we can I gotta ask, like, what was the most difficult class that you can recall back in college?
I could.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, mine was my last physics class. To the point of like I actually withdrew from the class and then had to retake it as a night class because it wasn't going that well. So I really wish I had Papaya to be able to, maybe I wouldn't have had to withdraw and, change my schedule around to kind of do that. But definitely either physics or thermo, for the fact of it just wasn't applicable to civil engineering and what I do. I'm sure there's folks on here that absolutely love thermo, so no offense to y'all.
What about you, Vanessa?
For me, my most difficult class, I think, was mechanics of materials, mainly because my mechanics of materials professor, he just was the absolute worst. Like, he was not helpful. He was like on tenure and did not care. So when we took our quizzes, we would find that he was either missing some, like, I don't even know. He was missing something that we couldn't even solve the problem complete the quiz,
Mm-hmm.
or sometimes he's like, oh, actually, you know, the answer's not there. Let me figure that out while you're taking the freaking quiz. So that was my worst class. And secondly, I think Calc 2. Somebody mentioned Calc 2, and I did not like Calc 2 at all.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think Calc 2 was definitely up there for me in terms of difficulty, and um, heat transfer and energy systems. I think those were the toughest, and they were like my senior year classes. It wasn't my last semester was pretty tough. And yeah, and just to let everybody know, like in terms of your classes, I'm just curious, what class do you use the most in real life right now? Or is it
I can
mainly
take this
software that
first.
takes care of it? Yeah, go ahead, Dani.
So I make the joke of anyone who's on here that's a structural concentration. I'll say, what do I use from college? And I like pull up my steel manual and show everyone that, because I'm like, I use that all of the time. So my steel manual from steel design and concrete design, but like it's like the 202 of those classes that I use those basics from what I learned in the sizing of concrete beams and you know, structural members and steel members. But for the most part, I don't use a lot of what I learned during school. It's a lot of just taking that critical thinking skills that I learned throughout my 5 years of college and applying that to my job and breaking down those problems into little more digestible pieces.
That's good.
I'm actually using that Steel Bible as my level right now. So it's actually what's holding, like, my phone up right now. It's handy. But what I use on a daily basis, so I mean, I mentioned I use AutoCAD. Even though I'm in transportation, I do a lot of storm drain and drainage design. So hydraulics book, my hydraulics and hydrology is what I use a lot.
That's interesting. I do have a question about your job. Like, what is it like? What do you guys do on a daily basis? What can you describe, Dani?
Yeah. So the thing I kind of love about my job, and it's kind of like a half answer, is like every day is different. So I don't know if I would call it a typical day, but like generally speaking, it's a lot of calculations and a lot of coordination with the rest of the people on my team. As I talked about in my intro, my projects are primarily bridge retrofit, reconstruction, and some new design. But I also do bridge inspections. So when I'm usually out in the field, I get to do bridge inspections, which I think is pretty fun. I don't know if everyone would, but I enjoy that part.
That looks pretty fun. For me, I mostly am on AutoCAD. I know that doesn't sound fun to some people, but I actually really enjoy it. I get really into working at the computer, so if that's something that you're interested in, like, then you'd like my job. But besides that, I do a lot of like plan production. Sometimes I'll do calcs with relation to the storm drain design, because although, you know, we're designing roads and bikeways, we always have to think about drainage design. So I do a lot of the storm drain design as well, on top of designing the roads using manuals. Depending on where you live, you have to look at different manuals, transportation manuals, to do the design. And besides that, just coordinating with you know, coworkers. And when it comes to construction projects in construction, that's when I coordinate more with the contractors. I used to do land development, so when I was in land development, I actually was going to the city and handing physical plans to the city and getting reviewed. And I did a lot more site visits actually in land development as well, because the project turnaround is like quick, whereas transportation, it's taken me about 3 years before a project is in construction. So I've been working on the current project since I started about 3 years ago, whereas in land development, I have finished multiple projects.
Yeah, those are all cool jobs. I mean, I'm a mechanical engineer, right? And I actually build things that move. I work in automation versus like static, so we're like completely different in the stuff we do. But it's all interesting, you know, like everything like bridges and huge buildings, all that is still very interesting, and just show how much power, is behind civil engineering, and you see it everywhere. So it's still a really cool industry. I do see some questions from the audience. They're asking if you are planning to take the PE exam. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I'm actually about to take it in 2 weeks. So yeah, so if you don't know, like I know somebody asked that question, but if you don't know what the PE exam, it's a professional engineering exam, and you have to have your engineering and training, the FE, prior to that. So you can take the FE while you're still in school. I recommend doing that. Don't do what I did and wait until after. But definitely take the EIT, and it's something that I think not every engineering necessarily needs. The reason being so that the civil engineers tend to take the PE is because we actually stamp plans, so we are directly liable. So once we have that, it's kind of like a doctor, like that's your liability. So yes, I will be taking the professional engineering exam in about 2 weeks. So yes, I'll be studying after this.
Good luck with
Thank
that.
you.
You're gonna be great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I also have my EIT, or engineering and training license, that I did. I totally agree with Vanessa. If you are a civil engineer and you're a student and you can take the FE exam while you're still in school, I definitely recommend you do it, just because you're also still in that studying mindset. And like the FE is like, I want to say it's like 110 questions and like 5.5 hours. Like it's a sprint to get those questions done. So it's definitely just like, if you're already in the mindset, do it. But in the state that I am in, Pennsylvania, you need to get 4 years of progressive experience under a licensed PE before you can sit to take the PE. So I'm almost at that 4-year mark. So I will hopefully be taking the PE in early 2022.
Yeah, I know
California,
that
you
MEs.
can take it right away.
Yeah, and even MEs have to take the PE, and I haven't taken it, so it's kind of weird because what I do, industrial automation, doesn't require it. So I just think it's interesting. I'm not sure why. I think they're making it a new thing where we do have to take it, because it's a combination of electrical and mechanical, but not fully, fully mechanical, fully electrical. So I guess I don't have to take it, which is okay. I
Great.
did, I think there's a question that I have for you, and I think a lot of people wonder too, because as students, they don't know, nobody knows what they're gonna get into. So I just have a question, like, for you, like, did you know what you were that you were gonna get into, like, designing bridges, or what you were gonna do as a professional? Like, did you have an idea what that was gonna look like after you graduated?
Graduated high school or college?
College. Once you graduated college, did you have an idea of what your job was gonna look like?
I did and I didn't, because I did have internship experience, first at the city, and then I worked in land development. And after graduating, I did end up working full-time in land development for about 2.5 years. So to me, like, I already knew exactly what I was gonna do because of my internship. And then afterwards, I had a different opportunity, and I was able to learn transportation, and I did not think that I would be where I am today, actually. So really glad that I've had different opportunities, and definitely internships is a great way to learn exactly what you're most interested in. But yeah, I did not even know that I wanted to be a civil engineer until the end of high school. So
Interesting. What about you, Dani?
Yeah, so kind of similar to Vanessa. Through college, I did multiple internships, and my second of 3 internships is actually at the place that I now work. So like I kind of knew what I was doing, because I already had like a 6-month and then extend it part-time with them. And it was really cool because there was projects that I was working on as an intern that I got to like now carry over and kind of work with a little bit more background into continuing those projects. So like the one that I think we posted about the Burlington Bristol retrofits, like I didn't design the Burlington Bristol because that's been around for 88 years now, but I did work on the retrofit plates that strengthened that bridge, which is really cool, and got to actually go out on the site and inspect the site to make sure that, you know, what we were designing actually was out in the field, which was really cool about it. So yes, I kind of knew what I was getting into, but there's still some things that you learned on the job or kind of get to know more when you're working that 40-hour week for an actual career.
Great. Yeah, I definitely had no idea what I was going to do. But yeah, definitely I was interested more into like machines and all that. So in terms of my interests, it was more on the machines and mechanical design. So
Did you have internships leading to that?
no, I actually did not. I did not have an internship. So it was really hard for me to, you know, wrap my head around what I was going to do, you know, and graduation's coming so soon, you know, let's say like 2 months before. Thankfully, a month before I graduated, I was interviewing and got lucky enough to, you know, get into the automation industry, which is what I really wanted to do. So I feel pretty lucky for that. So we're supposed to have a guest here shortly, Dr. Nee,
Yeah.
which is also a civil engineer, and he does work with bridges. So I'm gonna invite him in, see if he can join us here briefly. Oh, looks like we're having a bug here again.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah, I can't see the buttons. Interesting.
Should we get out and then
Yeah,
you
like they
invite us back in?
disappeared. Let's see if we can figure it out here briefly, but I do have another question, right? Well, I'll try to figure this out. Just describe to students, right? College life versus real life. Like what's, you know, what is the major differences that you know, people wonder? I guess as a student, I always wonder what I was gonna do and what life was gonna be like. So I just want to know what you guys see from your perspective. Dani, you want to go first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm cool. Okay. So I kind of already talked about this in the meme review, but I'm really not a morning person. So like when I was in college, like if I could avoid that 8 a.m. class, I was definitely avoiding that 8 a.m. class, like not having an 8 a.m. class. But kind of in the real world, or at least in where I am, like I start at 8 a.m. regardless. Like an 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. is my typical day. So getting used to waking up and having that consistent schedule is definitely difficult for me. But beyond that, I've loved being, you know, I call it the adulting, but I don't know if I still don't know if I'm entirely adult. Yay! Hi, Dr. Nee.
We figured it out. Hey, I like your shirt, man. Hey, we were just
What's up, my fellow civil engineers? I felt all the civil engineering love. I was like, I gotta be a part of the civil engineering party just for a little bit.
Yeah.
I felt the good civil engineering vibe, so I had to peek in.
How you doing, Nee?
What's up, Vanessa, Dani? How are y'all doing?
We're doing great. How are you?
Yeah.
Good. Now, if am I the only one that's freezing? A lot of people are freezing up right now.
I'm good. I can see you all good.
Okay, y'all are good?
Yeah, I can see you all good.
Awesome. First of all, just coming in to represent STEMedia, Vanessa, you're taking a PE in 2 weeks. So you've been in the books, huh?
I've been in the books. Yes, definitely. And that's why I earlier when it came to the FEA, I recommend, you know, taking the exams before you graduate, because working a 9 to 5, or I'm more like 8 to 5, and then I take maybe like an hour or two break. So this is during my break. And then I go study until like 11, 12 p.m. or 8 a.m. Sorry. So I like to night study.
Got you. Yeah, and I was over here cheering for you as everybody was rooting you on. I agree. Quick question on that. Are you taking any like programs, School of PE? You know, they got a lot of PPI, like Power to Pat. Are you taking any programs, or are you doing independent study?
I'm doing self-study, but I have a lot of friends who have done like PPE or um, there's like EET. There's multiple acronyms.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
but if I do
That's
have
cool.
any, struggles, sometimes I'll just ask a friend, do like a virtual study, or YouTube still seems pretty helpful.
Yep. Like definitely YouTube is my
Yes,
best friend.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'm definitely rooting for you. I think you're gonna do great. Dani, I heard you
Yeah.
do bridge inspection. You said that earlier. Guess what? I've spent many of hours in the field inspecting bridges.
Yeah, I see. I didn't know that. That's so awesome. Yeah, no, I love my design work, but like nothing, especially like that first year, having that bridge inspection and hands-on
Yes,
inspection, like just helps you really understand all that goes into a full bridge design.
yes, yes, yes. Why don't you tell people about those days climbing up those steep slope protections, trying to make sure you can see stuff, but not like lose your balance and all that?
Yeah, that too. Or like with the Burlington, like I think you can kind of see, but like I have my safety harness and such on, but it's a vertical lift bridge, and we actually were on it as it was moving up because like it's just like an elevator, but it's just like so weird being on something as it's moving up and then a ship going underneath. Like you kind of like lose your balance,
Yes,
but it's so cool.
That's really cool.
it's
I do gotta
crazy. It's
ask. I gotta
crazy.
ask you guys. Have you guys been in a dangerous situation? It sounds like you go out in the bridge and start climbing it, or like what exactly are you guys doing? It
Oh,
sounds pretty dangerous. I don't know.
go ahead, Dani. It can be.
I mean, yeah, it can be. So for what I do is like I'll have like a full safety harness, and that once you're actually on the top of the bridge, like you're clipped in, and like you have two essentially carabiners that you have to clip on as you're walking. But to get up there, usually it's just like a ladder and a cage. So like you got to make sure you eat like a nice full breakfast or whatever
Yes.
beforehand because it's a lot of work to just climb up the ladder to
True.
get to the top.
Really, definitely, definitely. And once you're up there, it's not like you're gonna really take a break. It's like you're gonna try to finish
Yep.
while you're there.
Yeah.
Totally, totally. Yeah. Well, I just wanted to pop in and definitely say hi and represent STEMedia because we're really just honored to have y'all here. And we're all about showing like images of people who are doing it, at a high level, but also like keeping their personalities and being themselves. And I think you two, Vanessa, Dani, definitely represent that. And so I'm just honored to be associated even in this collaboration. I did have like maybe really quick, Eduardo, if that's cool, some fun
Yeah.
questions. Two
Yeah.
like really quick, just
Yeah.
fun questions on
Yeah,
civil
for
engineering.
sure.
I want to ask y'all real quick. Is that cool?
Yeah, totally. Go for it, man.
All right. All right. Here we go. Here we go. So for those who watch in civil engineering, we use a lot of materials, construction. Materials is our thing, right? One gotta go. All right. This is the question for you, Vanessa, and then one has to go. Concrete, steel, or wood? If one just completely left, right, and all of the construction projects that are associated or primarily built with it is gone too, which one would have to go? Concrete, steel, or wood? Go ahead,
Oh,
Vanessa.
I can
What would
answer
you think?
this. Oh yeah,
Oh,
go.
you can go.
But I work on transportation projects, so most of them are roads and bridges. So I mainly use concrete and steel. I don't really use wood.
Okay, all right, cool, cool.
But
That
Dani,
was what I was.
what was your-
Yeah, I was also gonna say wood's gotta go. Like wood's great for residential, but like you can't take wood and you can't make a skyscraper. You're not making
True.
most bridges out of wood. There are some beautiful bridges that I've seen that are like covered bridges that are wood, but like if I
Yeah.
had to pick, wood's gotta go.
Wood's gotta go. I was inclined to say that too. I guess like the older stuff, a lot of older bridges and stuff were definitely wood, but nowadays we're definitely still in concrete. All right, here's a would you rather though. Here's a would you rather. Would you rather have?
Was that supposed to lead on to something?
Oh, me? You talking about the question?
Would.
Would you?
Would you rather?
Oh, got it. I didn't even catch that. Good one.
I
Would
thought
you
meant to
rather?
do that.
Hey, Vanessa,
No.
you sound really good.
That was a perfect segue though. You got me. Here it is though. Would you rather, Vanessa? Here we go. Know all of the code, because we deal with a lot of code, Eduardo. It's like a lot of code and regulations that really like govern almost everything we do, right? Would you rather know all of the code by heart and have no engineering judgment or intuition? Or would you rather have the most highest level of engineering judgment / intuition, but always have to look up something in the code?
I would have the second option because I think that's realistic. Because I don't know all the code. I don't remember everything, especially with transportation. I have to look up manuals all the time. And I think like something that, you know, students might not know, but we Google stuff all the time. So that's the
All
most
the time.
realistic thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about you, Dani?
I totally agree with Vanessa here of like how much that, and you brought this up with talking about the PE, how much I Google or how much I look things up on YouTube, which by the way, this is going to be streamed on YouTube, if not right now. But like things like if I'm having an issue with something in MicroStation, like, you know, I'm going to YouTube to look up a tutorial so that I can isolate the issue. So definitely that engineering judgment as opposed to I'm fine looking up codes. I Google so many things throughout my projects and throughout the day.
Got you. So I thought you were going to say, I totally agree, right? Because we Google all the time, for those who are wondering. Like, we have thick, you know, AASHTO code. AASHTO code is like massive, right? Multiple books. Vanessa knows she's going to carry all those into the PE pretty soon. But it's incredible. But I have to be honest with you. If I had to pick one, I probably would say unlimited memory of the code. But like you said, Vanessa, it's not really realistic, which is probably why I would pick it, because it's like there's no way I could ever do this in real life. So. And
Paulina put a fantastic thing in the chat of like codes also change. So like, are you gonna get like a software update like every year?
Touche, Danielle.
Good.
I can't think about that. Well, cool. That's basically what I wanted to ask you. Last question before I leave. Last question before I leave. Again, thanks to you, Eduardo. Engineering for even hosting this cool thing, highlighting civil engineers. What better engineering discipline to start with? But if you could give a movie title to your career, a movie title, what would that movie title be for your career as a civil engineer?
Bridge the Gap.
Ooh, nice.
I've heard this question before, so I was prepared with that. But
okay.
But as a bridge engineer, what I do is work on bridges and some new design. But like also what we'll get into in a little bit is the STEM outreach that I do, where I bridge that gap between, you know, career and you know, the classroom, or even earlier than that of like the high school age of like even just figuring out if you want to you know, study engineering or what of engineering you would want to study, since there's so many disciplines.
It is.
You're quick with that one.
Definitely. I love it. What about you?
I don't know. I think mine would be like a work in progress, because everything's constantly a work in progress, and every single time, you know, I'm doing a new project, there's something else that happens afterwards. So that would be my answer, honestly.
I love that.
A work in progress. Yeah, it's always ongoing. And speaking of that, and I'll say this before I leave, because I definitely want to hear more about you bridging the gap, Dani. Before I pop out, if I had to give a title, mine would definitely be engineering purpose, right? And that's a term I use a lot. And the thing about engineering, kind of what Vanessa just said, is that it's not only a noun, like engineering is a noun, it's a thing, it's also a verb, right? It's a thing, engineering, and then there's the process of engineering. And so there definitely is an ongoing process. And I really feel like what you all are doing, we got a little freezing of Vanessa. Yeah. What you all are doing, what you all represent, is an ongoing representation of what we need. Not just as women in STEM, not just as superb civil engineers, but just as you as an individual. And so I definitely want to just tell you that we here are happy to have you. Shout out to Papaya Tutors for also doing what they do with purpose, seeking to make education more accessible. Lumis Automation, which is our friends in engineering and mechanical. We're cool with y'all, Eduardo. We're cool. But definitely think that you all are actively engineering purpose. So maybe I need to hop off now so Vanessa can get back moving. But thank y'all so much for letting me pop in.
Thanks for
Bye, Dr. Nee.
And I like your shirt, man. That's a great shirt.
See you later. If you can hear me, Vanessa, see you later.
Yeah. Can we talk about your shirt, Eduardo? Because I don't think we've addressed it yet, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, Bernoulli. If you're familiar with Bernoulli, let me show it to everybody. I don't know what's going on with Vanessa, but yeah. So for those who don't know, I'm actually selling this shirt, Bernoulli. Um, Fluid mechanics. If you're familiar with the equation, Bernoulli equation, um, this is where I got it from. And yeah, I mean Bernie. Anybody that knows Bernie
I
kind of
love it.
sees the familiarity in there. But yeah, it looks like we're having issues with Vanessa here.
Oh no.
Let me see if I can find her. I just requested her.
Cool.
Yeah, well, I guess while we wait for her, see if she can get back on. We're in Women's STEM Wednesday. Hey, Vanessa, you're back.
I'm
Yay.
back.
Great, great.
Great
Yeah,
shirt.
so
I saw the shirt.
yeah, yeah. Here we go. I'll probably
There we
send you
go. We
all
got it. Yeah.
some shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was gonna get into the, topic of discussion here, like more on, we're in Women's STEM Wednesday. It's an episode about women and just talk about your experiences in the field. And I do want to just get into a discussion about that and just talk about what it's like to be a woman in STEM and how you use social media to influence other women. Do you want to tell us, Vanessa?
Yeah, so I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I did not know that I wanted to be a civil engineer, not until the end of high school, or even really knew what an engineer did. So that's the whole reason why I really like to promote engineering and women in STEM on my social media page. So that if you follow me or check out my page, that's where a majority of where I talk about engineering. And there's still so many things that like I think that I would like to share, or other people have shared, and I think it's such a great community. Like I've met so many women in STEM through Engineering Gals, and now here in Engineering Meme Sky. So that's what I personally like to do when it comes to promoting women in STEM. And you know I don't know how Dani feels, but like I think it's something that we both like to do when we are getting involved in STEM outreach, because we're both part of ASCE and we do a lot of STEM outreach through there. So that's one of my favorite things, always being able to talk to kids and showing kids, what they can do in STEM.
That's cool. What about you, Dani?
Yeah, so I was just pulling up the stats while we were talking about it. So according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics in 2019, of the 475,000 civil engineers, only 14% still are identify as women. So we're still only at that 14%. So it's definitely, I think it was definitely seemed lower when I was in classes. Like I know distinctly, I remember going into one of my like coding classes, because for some reason we also had to take coding as civil engineers, but I digress. But being the only woman in that room of about 30, 35 in that, and it's intimidating. It's hard to not feel like you don't belong here if you don't see others that look like you. But kind of building off of what Vanessa was talking about, I feel like that kind of fueled my STEM outreach of talking to that younger generation of, regardless of your gender, of showing you that if you have a passion for problem solving, you like the construction side of things, you think that anything in engineering sounds awesome, like engineering is for you. So like I love doing STEM outreach, and honestly, like I get so like it's so awesome to go talk to these kids, and like the questions that they have about these structures and what I work on is it just like it fuels like my life. Like I love what I do as work, but also like going and talking to these kids and showing them like how much I love what I do is like my favorite part.
Yeah, I would do that myself too. I was a tutor. I actually in college, I tutored high school students in junior high and also was a mentor. So, just talking about doing engineering, at that point I wasn't really an engineer, but just I was close to becoming one, and just talking to students and motivating them to get into it. It just feels so good, right? And it's
Absolutely.
pretty cool when they listen to you too. And I hear, my last semester, weeks from me graduating, they were telling me, hey, I'm going to college, like thanks to you. And I'm like, oh man, that's amazing. And they would do, they were getting into engineering and all that stuff. And it's like, wow, like this stuff helps, right? Through the outreach and talking to people. It's super important, and that's something that I wasn't really exposed to either. And now we're doing these lives, and it's so much easier to talk to people. I'm pretty sure anybody that's watching, they're listening to you, and they get a better idea of what it's like to be a woman in STEM and doing what you're doing. So yeah, we all play a part into this, right? So I know it's little of you women, but still a lot of work to be done and get more people involved, more women involved. So
Yeah,
thank you
I
for
like to
doing
call
that.
it. Oh, thank you for having this platform to elevate our voices and kind of even just this Women in STEM Wednesdays. This is episode 11. So like anyone who's on here who haven't seen the first 10, like I was chatting in the last one, like these are fantastic to learn about the fantastic women that are in STEM, that we all have these different backgrounds, different engineering backgrounds, different identities and all of that we're coming on here to elevate those stories to hopefully inspire those that are listening to get into engineering or finding what you're passionate about and following that passion.
Yes, and thank
Yeah.
you again, like, for having us, being able to come onto your platform, because it is a man's world, and also we don't need the inappropriateness in the comments. Just want to point that out there. But
Done.
so that's part of why, like, sometimes women get intimidated to even be a part of engineering or be a part of a man's world. But when we have male allies like you and Dr. Nee, and also our male coworkers, being able to have those allies are so important, and being able to have more women mentors as well, because actually in my company, my team is half men, half women. We're about a team of 12, so there's 6 women and 6 men in our team. So being able to have an even distribution is actually really great. My main boss is a female, so I aud her all the time. So I definitely think being able to talk to other engineers and having allies are so important, and not making it inappropriate.
Yeah, I learned so much from all this. Like I actually I talked to Sandra. She's actually the person who made all this happen. She's the one with the idea, and she's pushing me to do this and have the conversation. I'm not like the best of the camera, but here I am. So
y'all are rocking it.
I'm trying to be a part of something good, and I see it. I see the gap, and I definitely want to play an influence on that and reducing it. So I never thought people would call me an ally. I'm just trying to help here.
You
and
are.
It's been great. It's been great, the networking, everybody that supports it. But yeah, I gotta give it to the people in the background that you guys don't see. They put a lot of time and effort trying to make it. Trying to do it every week. It's a lot. I gotta say, Joanne is here. There's Nee, there's Paulina. They host this here. Fernanda as well. So there's a few people pushing this, and it feels amazing to have a team trying to keep it going, right? Everybody's so busy and still trying to make an impact.
You're doing great.
Thank you. And I do want to give you guys a chance to give advice to students, anybody that's in civil engineering and getting close to graduation. Is there any Vanessa, is there any words you want to tell them, before the end of the show?
Yeah. So I would say, don't give up. I know it's like hard sometimes, especially when you're still in engineering school. There's times that, I failed classes. I've even failed the FE. It's really tough, and just don't get discouraged and keep going. That's something that I constantly try to promote when it comes to engineering. Even after you graduate, there's going to be failures. There's going to be times where you make mistakes, and that's 100% fine. You're not a robot. You can build one, but you're not a robot.
Yeah.
I love that. What I would add as well is don't be afraid to talk about the things that you want to do. Like if you are applying for something and you need a letter of recommendation, don't be afraid to ask that person, that professor that you build a relationship with, of, hey, can you write me this letter of recommendation? Because more often than not, especially like as a professional, more often than not, we want to help you. But if you don't ask, like we're not going to read your mind and know to help you. So like don't be afraid to talk about those goals that you have with mentors, with those around you to get you where you want to go.
Yep, yep. I know. I'm reading some of the comments here, and just so everybody knows, I do see a bug here on Instagram. People cannot ask me questions, and I can't see anybody requesting me. So sorry that I can't read your questions. So please leave them in the comments. We got a few more minutes, and if you want to ask the ladies something, just do it in the comment section. In the meantime, also, I know we're running out of time. Please add Vanessa and Dani. Like you can click the little tab here, and the drop down will appear, and just add them. You can contact them directly if you have any questions. So they're not that far away. So just hit them up in the DM. So,
Do you have any advice, Eduardo?
advice, like I think as a student, I always wish I had internships, right? But I never had one, and so I can't really relate to a lot of things that other people have done. But I gotta say, in terms of professional life, the networking is so important. The people that you work with, if you have, especially if you start like a business, which is what I did, the people around you that you surround yourself are probably the most important people in your life, right? Because they become your team. You guys are trying to build this company, and it wouldn't be the same without them. So you never know who you're gonna meet, if it's through these lives, if it's through direct message, if they contact you. It's just, reach out. The networking is very important, because maybe they are the people who offer you that internship. Maybe I didn't reach out enough, right, as a student. So it's really on you, and reaching out and contacting people. I think that's my biggest advice for students. So just reach out, especially nowadays. It's super easy. Just send them a message,
It's about those DMs. Yeah, no, I'm totally there with you. Like maybe social media did have some sort of part when I was in college as much, but like I didn't really lean into it until about 2 years ago. But social media has such a great opportunity of like this community that we have, like seeing Vanessa and the posts that she has and all of these women in STEM like talking about their story, like has motivated me to kind of like talk more authentically about my story, and kind of talking about like, I don't know if I would have said before of like I withdrew from a class, and but me sharing that story may help a student that's in college right now that's struggling and is thinking about, I'm going to drop out of engineering, when I want them to know like you can do it. You can still withdraw from a class and still continue. Like there will be failures in I think Vanessa talked about this in her advice. Like there will be failures regardless of where you are in your studying and career, but persevering is a important part of our career in general.
Yep. Yeah, I do see people in the comments saying that networking has definitely served me well this year. No doubt, it's intimidating sometimes, but it pays off. Yeah, definitely. Even me getting on here, reaching out to people, letting them know about my company, and it's a little intimidating, but I'm trying to get used to it.
It's a new world where we all meet virtually.
Yeah, and it all started with memes.
Yeah. Speaking of, is Lumis Automation doing anything specific for Robotics Week right now?
We actually just launched our first Lumis Automation Academy, which is going to be hosted in June. So we're going to be having, we're going to be very selective on whoever applies. We're not just accepting your resume, but we also want to know a little bit about you. So if you go to the link in the bio at Lumis Automation, you'll be able to apply. And yeah, you get a chance to learn about industrial automation. We are going to focus on software, like programming and electrical systems. So if you're into all that, definitely check us out. We're located in Orange County, which is another thing you should know, is we're we want to focus on local students just because it's easier. So yeah, check us out. Definitely Lumis Automation. We launched our very first Lumis Automation Academy. So we're looking forward to that.
That's exciting.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what we're doing. But anyways, I know we have very few minutes. I do want to give thanks to you both and all the sponsors that are making this happen. Again, Papaya Tutor and Lumis Automation, and produced by STEMedia. Thank you all. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Dani. Any last words for the audience?
Well, thank you. Honestly, I really enjoyed the conversation and enjoyed, being able to talk to you about, different things, especially in civil engineering. There are definitely memes of comparing different engineering majors, so I find it really funny. But also in the way of oh darn, those damn civil engineers.
Yep.
So thank you again for having us, and again for Papaya Tutor for putting us all together, and STEMedia for hosting.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for putting this together. It's awesome just to see the collaboration that's going on in our community. So thank you, Papaya Tutors and Sandra, for inviting me to do this, and then as well as STEMedia and Lumis Automation and Engineering Memes guys for having us on here and bringing this awesome conversation to NIG Live and one of episode 11 of Women in STEM Wednesdays of many. So 11 of many more.
11 weeks. It's been 11 weeks. All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much. Well, I'll see you around. I'll be following you. So everybody, before they leave, please just follow them, show some support, contact them, and yeah, don't be afraid to reach out.
Yeah, our DMs are open.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, everyone. That concludes episode 11 of Women in STEM Wednesday. And I just want to give a special thanks to Sandra from Papaya Tutor for making all this happen, and STEMedia for producing this. You can definitely check out the episode on YouTube as well, and I'll be reposting this in our feed here shortly. So thank you all for tuning in, and don't forget to look for our shirts in the link in bio. We're selling Bernoulli shirts and other cool merch. Check them out. Anyways, well, thank you so much for joining.